Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into fascinating material to uncover those hidden gems of insight.
Glad to be diving in.
Today, we're embarking on a journey into the remarkable, often unsettling, but always captivating world of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, definitely captivating.
There's just something inherently compelling about a good mystery, isn't there? That thrill of unraveling the unknown and the surprising ways imagination can intersect with logic, even with what we think of as fact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that intersection is precisely our mission with this deep dive. We're going into the works of Edgar Allan Poe, a truly diverse collection. I mean, it spans from daring voyages and baffling murders to, well, satirical fables and haunting portraits.
Right.
Our goal is to understand how one mind could craft such varied narratives, often blurring the lines between reality and illusion, and, consistently challenging how we perceive truth.
It's quite the paradox, because the man himself lived a life that felt, well, straight out of one of his own stories. Edgar Allan Poe, born into poverty in Boston, 1809, and died under painful circumstances in Baltimore just 40 years later. His entire literary career, barely 15 years, was just a desperate struggle for mere subsistence.
And almost unbelievable.
I know. That for a work as impactful as The Raven, published 1845, became a sensation, this genius received a paltry $10. Just $10.
Indeed. It paints such a stark picture. Genius juxtaposed with, well, extreme poverty. William Winter's poem, the one read at the dedication of the Actors' Monument to Poe, it truly captures this. Describes him as the voice of beauty and of woe, passion and mystery and the dread unknown.
That's powerful.
And Poe's mind, as Sarah Helen Whitman observed, was like a haunted palace echoing with angels and demons. He himself once wrote that no man has dared to record the wonders of his inner life.
A fitting sentiment, really.
Absolutely. For someone whose work so profoundly explored the human psyche.
And what a breadth of work it was. I mean, from the exquisite charm of tales like The Fall of the House of Usher and Ligeia,
Beautifully atmospheric.
to the chilling psychological depth of The Black Cat and The Telltale Heart. He gave us stunning evocations of natural beauty in The Island of the Fae, and then basically pioneered the detective genre with his brilliant ratiocination studies like The Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Can't forget those Dupin.
Exactly. And we'll also dive into his fascinating hoaxes, his whimsical satires, and even his keen literary criticism, which, interestingly, Charles Dickens admired.
Right. Dickens was a fan. It's an incredible testament to one individual's creative power, really.
Okay, let's begin our deep dive then. A prime example of Poe's talent for the fascinating hoax. The unparalleled adventure of Hans Pfaall.
Ah, yes. Hans Pfaall.
This story presents itself as a letter, supposedly from a Rotterdam bellows mender, describing an incredible journey to the moon. But it's not just a fantastical tale, is it?
Not at all. What's truly insightful about Hans Pfaall is Poe's commitment to verisimilitude. That is, making even the most outlandish scenario feel scientifically plausible, or at least seem plausible.
He really grounds it.
He does. He grounds Hansa's incredible escape to the moon in meticulous, albeit, fictional scientific detail. Hans, driven to desperation by creditors and poverty, literally stumbles upon a book of astronomy and devises this audacious plan.
And the ingenuity of his preparations is remarkable. He constructs a balloon from cambric muslin coated with gum katook.
Pretty specific stuff.
Right. Employs a condensing apparatus and even claims a secret gas recipe from a citizen of Nantes, France. He even tricks his 3 creditors into helping him launch.
Which is darkly funny.
Totally. Only for them to be left buried under falling ballast bags as he shoots off like a lark. It's a wonderfully absurd, yet precisely detailed launch.
It's that grounding in physical reality, or apparent reality, that makes it so compelling. As Hans ascends, Poe meticulously details the physiological effects of high altitude. Hans even resorts to self-bloodletting, venesection for relief.
Ouch!
He observes how his pet pigeons suffer greatly. One dies. But then a cat he has, well, initially it suffers, but then it recovers. And the kittens.
Wow, the kitten experiment.
Right. He observed 3 kittens born in the balloon, and they show not the slightest sign of any uneasiness whatever, breathing easily. This leads him to this pseudoscientific theory about acclimation to rarefied air, though he does mention losing his little family of cats later, sadly.
He also describes how the very heavens transform around him. The sky becoming jetty black, stars brilliantly visible even in daylight.
Which has some basis in reality at extreme altitudes.
And the Earth's apparent convexity increasing as it changes color from pale yellow to a dull copper shield. This wasn't just spinning a yarn, it was a deliberate masterclass in pseudoscientific realism, trying to create a believable fantasy.
Indeed. Poe, in his own notes, explicitly called Han's fall a hoax, a jeu d'esprit he called it, but one built on attempting scientific principles. He specifically set it apart from other popular moon stories of his time.
Like Locke's story.
Exactly. He criticizes a well-known contemporary moon story by Mr. Locke for its scientific impossibilities. Things like ridiculously powerful lenses showing flowers on the moon, or man-bats walking heels up and head down, which Poe points out a real observer would immediately recognize as, well, singular.
And impossible to see clearly anyway, with the magnification Locke claimed.
Right. Poe's point was that even a hoax, to be effective, has to respect the boundaries of scientific possibility, no matter how much you stretch them.
Okay, so from that meticulously constructed scientific hoax, let's shift gears dramatically. A more satirical, whimsical piece. 4 beasts in one, the Homo camelepard. This tale offers a completely different side of Poe's genius, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's pure satire. Here, Poe sets the scene in ancient Antioch Epidaphne, a city that he notes by his own time would be in lamentable decay due to earthquakes.
Setting the stage for decline.
Precisely. He introduces Antiochus Epiphanes, the king of Syria, with this truly impressive list of impious, dastardly, cruel, silly, and whimsical achievements. It's clearly satire from the get-go.
The story then plunges us into an extraordinary tumult in the city. The king makes this triumphant entry dressed in a gigantic camel-leopard hide, basically a human-faced giraffe costume. It's wild.
Totally wild. His tail is held aloft by his concubines Allan and Argyle, and the crowd hails him as Prince of Poets and Glory of the East, singing a Latin hymn about slaying 1,000 with one warrior. The absurdity of power is just laid bare.
And this is where Poe delivers that brilliant comedic twist. The domesticated wild animals of the city watching this grand procession, they take offense.
They do. They're offended by the king's ridiculous disguise. A mutiny ensues, with the animals attempting to literally eat the camelopard king.
So Antiochus, for all his pomp, has to flee for his life, showing surprising superhuman agility.
Running for his life in a giraffe suit.
Exactly. And the crowd's reaction, they celebrate his escape, crowning him with a wreath of victory in the foot race, anticipating his future Olympic win. It's just glorious in its absurdity.
It really is.
So what does this whimsical piece tell us about human nature, do you think?
Well, I think it serves as a commentary on the inherent absurdity of unchecked power, definitely. Yeah. And the fickle nature of public adulation.
Yeah.
1 minute they're cheering, the next. Well,
yeah.
And perhaps most pointedly, it's about the wildness that even domestication can't truly tame. It's kind of a reminder that beneath the veneer of civilization and pomp, there's always a touch of the untamed, ready to burst forth and deflate even the most self-important ruler.
Right. A humbling, if slightly terrifying thought. Okay, now let's dive into the very core of Poe's analytical prowess. We're moving from the whimsical to the intensely logical.
Back to the logic.
We're talking about the art of deduction, logic in the face of the incomprehensible. Starting with his definition of analytical ability. He asserts this faculty is little susceptible of analysis itself, yet is a source of liveless enjoyment to its possessor.
Yes, and he sharply differentiates it from mere ingenuity. He argues that while the true analyst is always ingenious, the merely ingenious person is often remarkably incapable of analysis. It's about a particular kind of pleasure found in, disentangling complexities, solving puzzles that call this unique talent into play.
He even unpacks this through the lens of games. He suggests that drafts or checkers is actually a better exercise for the higher powers of the reflective intellect than chess. Which is counterintuitive, maybe.
A bit, yeah. But his reasoning is that with simpler, more limited moves, victory comes from superior acumen, from truly understanding the game's underlying principles, not just navigating complex, sort of involuted movements like in chess.
Less about memorizing openings, more about pure thinking.
Exactly. And then he posits whist as the supreme test of analytical faculty. It demands comprehension of hidden advantages, skilled observation reading opponents' expressions, remembering cards, detecting feints, and inference far beyond just knowing the rules.
It's a game where true analytical skill, that ability to see the unseen, really shines.
Precisely.
And C. Auguste Dupin, of course, is the embodiment of this analytical power. The text describes his peculiar habits: loving the night, shutting out the day, roaming Paris for infinity of mental excitement.
A creature of the night, literally.
And there's that astonishing example where Dupin literally reads the narrator's mind, following his train of thought from horses to a fruiterer to paving stones, a strained ankle, and finally to the actor Chantilly playing Xerxes. It's just, wow.
It's a powerful demonstration of his observational and inferential skills, isn't it? Seeing connections others completely miss. It perfectly sets the stage for The Murders in the Rue Morgue, his seminal lockroom mystery.
Right. The case itself is horrifying. The extraordinary murders of Madame L'Espanaye and her daughter Camille on the 4th story of a locked house. The sheer brutality and the impossible circumstances just baffle the police.
They're completely stumped.
What's truly fascinating is how Dupin handles the conflicting witness testimony. He doesn't try to force it into a conventional narrative. Everyone agrees on the gruff voice being a Frenchman.
Okay.
Yep.
Consensus there.
But when it comes to the shrill or harsh voice, witnesses from 5 different European nations, Italian, English, Spanish, Dutch, French, all agree it was a foreigner, but each likens it to a nationality they don't understand.
And crucially, no one distinguishes any words, just quick and unequal sounds or fiendish jabberings.
This, Dupin notes, is the crucial telling peculiarity.
Precisely. Instead of getting bogged down in what should have happened or trying to reconcile the irreconcilable, Dupin zeroes in on how the murderers escaped.
The physical problem.
Right. He methodically rules out secret passages, chimneys, leaves only the windows. He discovers a hidden spring mechanism on one window sash.
Ah, the nail trick.
Yes, and notes the other had a nail that looked broken but was actually put back from the outside. He deduces that only someone or something with a very unusual degree of activity and courage could have climbed the lightning rod and swung into the room via the shutters.
And the motive. The police assumed robbery.
But Dupin points out 4,000 francs in gold were just left on the floor, not robbery. Then he finds that tuft of hair in Madame L'Espanaye's hand.
The non-human hair.
Described as brownish red, coarse and remarkably thick and stiff, distinctly not human.
So when Dupin connects all the dots, the superhuman strength needed for the mutilations, like shoving a body up a chimney,
Unbelievable strength.
the almost preternatural agility for entry, the brutal ferocity, the butchery without motive, the grotesquerie and horror absolutely alien from humanity, and that peculiar shrill or harsh and unequal voice that nobody could identify.
It all points to one shocking non-human perpetrator. An orangutan. An orangutan.
And the eventual sailor's account confirms it all. His escaped orangutan committed the murders in a frenzy, its jabberings mixed with the sailor's own cries of horror and affright.
The ape even closed the window upon exiting. Amazing detail.
Dupin's critique of the police here is classic Poe, isn't it? He faults the prefect for confounding the unusual with the abstruse, basically for overthinking it or thinking in the wrong way.
Yeah, for failing to ask what has occurred that has never occurred before. He emphasizes that the truth is not always in a well. Sometimes it's superficial, right there on the surface, or found in the valleys where we seek her.
Using that analogy of viewing a star from the side of the retina for better comprehension, you have to look differently.
Exactly. Don't stare straight at it.
This analytical approach is really pushed further in The Mystery of Marie Roget, where Dupin applies his method to a real unsolved murder case. He's not just solving a fictional crime here. He's systematically dismantling the flawed reasoning of the Parisian newspapers of the time.
It's quite a takedown. Take L'Etoile's drowning theory, for instance. They claim the body couldn't be Marie's because drowned bodies supposedly take 6 to 10 days to float.
A common belief, maybe?
Perhaps. But Dupin corrects them. Bodies thrown in immediately after death by violence would generally not sink at all because they wouldn't struggle and fill their lungs with water. He just exposes the faulty assumptions, explaining how decomposition rates vary wildly depending on temperature, water purity, all sorts of factors.
And regarding the body's identification, L'Etoile dismisses the evidence, hair, small foot, garter, shoe, flowers, as inconclusive individually.
Right, picking it apart piece by piece.
But Dupin argues that while individual pieces might seem trivial, their cumulative presence acts as multiple evidence. It's not just additive, it's multiplied by hundreds or thousands, making the identity madness or hypocrisy to doubt. He highlights the tightened garter as particularly strong evidence because it's so unusual.
It's the combination that matters. Then there's the timing and visibility issue. L'Etoile claims Marie couldn't have walked 3 blocks on a Sunday morning when the streets were full of people without being seen.
Seems reasonable on the surface.
But Dupin points out that at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, Parisian streets are actually peculiarly deserted as people prepare for church, so she could have gone unseen. He challenges their assumptions based on, well, incomplete understanding.
So Dupin's own hypothesis turns the whole investigation on its head. He argues for a single killer and the possibility of an elopement gone wrong.
Yeah, he asks, if a gang was involved, why no betrayal? Given a large reward and a full pardon offered. He asserts that the secret not being divulged is the very best of proof that it is, in fact, a secret, known only to one or two living human beings and to God.
A gang would have left clues, or someone would talk.
Exactly. A gang, he notes, would likely have left nothing behind, and their numbers would have prevented that kind of unreasoning terror implied by the scene.
So he cleverly redirects the inquiry to collateral or circumstantial events, specifically Marie's first disappearance years prior.
Which involved a young naval officer, much noted for his debaucheries.
Right. Dupin deduces a secret lover whom Marie met that Sunday, intending not to return home. Her instruction for St. Eustache to call for her at dark was, he thinks, a deliberate ruse to gain more time for her escape without raising immediate suspicion.
And the man of dark complexion, seen with Marie crossing the river with her in an open ferry boat, who is now conspicuously absent.
That's key for Dupin. An innocent man, he argues, would have come forward immediately. His absence points towards guilt.
Then there's the boat. The discovery of a rudderless boat, picked up by a bargeman and then silently removed from the barge office.
Very suspicious removal.
Very. Dupin suggests this boat was used to dispose of the body. The peculiar marks on the back and shoulders of the victim, he says, tell of the bottom ribs of a boat. And the owner removing it silently suggests a personal, permanent connection to the Navy, implying the dark-complexioned man is a naval officer. That boat, Dupin concludes, will guide us to him who employed it.
Wow. He really hammers home the power of the calculus of probabilities, doesn't he? Emphasizing that the larger portion of all truth has sprung from the collateral. Side details.
Yes. He states that while coincidences happen, a long-drawn and exact parallel like the two disappearances and similar crimes actually forbids the idea of it just being chance repeating itself. This really underlines how his method goes beyond conventional thinking, looking for patterns and meaning in the seemingly random or unconnected.
Okay, our journey continues, but now plunging into the truly unknown with emiscript found in a bottle. This is a deeply atmospheric, suspenseful narrative. Very different feel from Dupin.
Oh, completely different. What's truly compelling about this story is the narrator himself. He introduces himself as a man of rigid thought and physical philosophy, known for his aridity of genius and deficiency of imagination.
Not exactly prone to flights of fancy.
Not at all. Yet he recounts this incredible tale that he insists is positive experience rather than fancy. That sets up an immediate tension between his logical mind and the bizarre, almost supernatural events he's about to experience.
And Poe immediately establishes this unnatural atmosphere, a peculiar calm, a singular cloud, a dusky red moon, unusually transparent water, intolerably hot air with spiral exhalation.
And a candle flame that burned without any motion.
Eerie.
Totally eerie. These details aren't just description. They ominously foreshadow the coming catastrophe, a simoom, a massive storm. The catastrophe arrives with a sudden, loud humming noise. The ship quivers. Then a wilderness of foam sweeps the decks, leaving only the narrator and an old Swede alive. Their shattered ship remarkably rights itself.
Which seems impossible in itself.
Right. Only to encounter, after 5 days of unimaginable tempest, shrouded in patchy darkness and eternal night, this gigantic, ancient ship emerging from an abyss. A phantom vessel, basically.
Sailing against the storm.
Exactly. It sails in the very teeth of that supernatural sea and of that ungovernable hurricane, defying all natural laws. It's terrifying and uncannily beautiful in a way.
The narrator inexplicably finds himself aboard this ghost ship, but he's unnoticed by the crew.
Which is also strange. He describes them as gliding like the ghosts of buried centuries, their eyes filled with eager and uneasy meaning. The captain, though normal size, bears the stamp of a myriad of years, his grayer eyes seeming like sibyls of the future muttering in a foreign tongue. It's just pure eldritch mystery.
And the vessel itself, ancient. A strange model. Singular cast of spars, built of an unknown, extremely porous wood. It's almost like it's imbued with the spirit of Eld, of primordial times.
It continues its terrific course due south, rolling its yardarms into an appalling hell of water, pushing farther south than any previous navigators had ever gone, into the blackness of eternal night and a chaos of foamless water.
Towards stupendous ramparts of ice like the walls of the universe.
The ultimate fate feels both inevitable and terrifyingly unknown. The narrator, convinced of his destiny, keeps writing his journal, planning to cast it in a bottle into the sea.
And this connects to Poe's own note about old Mercator maps.
Yes, maps that showed the ocean rushing into a polar gulf to be absorbed into the earth, with the pole itself as a black rock towering to a prodigious height. It suggests this final ultimate descent into some kind of cosmic maw, a place beyond human comprehension or maps. Truly chilling.
Okay, for our final deep dive today, let's explore the oval portrait. A brief but intensely powerful story. Very different again.
Yes, short but packs a punch. It delves right into that intersection of art, life, and obsession.
The setting is immediately atmospheric. A wounded narrator seeks refuge in a gloomy, recently abandoned chateau in the Apennines. He's immediately drawn to the numerous, spirited modern paintings on the walls.
Each one like a window into another world, as you said.
He repositions a candelabrum, and it reveals a previously shaded oval portrait of a young girl. The painting is described as a masterpiece, technically brilliant.
But its true impact lies in its absolute lifelikeliness of expression, which, startling, finally confounded, subdued, and appalled him. It's almost too real, too vibrant to be just paint on canvas.
And that's precisely the tragic core of the story, isn't it? He finds a small book nearby that tells the portrait's history.
Right, the painter, described as passionate, studious, austere, already had a bride in his art. His subject was his beautiful, joyful young wife, who, tragically, hated only the art which was her rival.
Yet she sat for him.
She sat meekly for many weeks in the dark, high turret chamber, the light falling only from overhead, enduring it all out of love for her husband.
But the painter became wild with the ardor of his work, utterly neglecting his wife. He didn't see that the light which fell so ghastly withered the health and the spirits of his bride, who pined visibly to all but him.
Yet she smiled on, apparently, uncomplainingly, seeing his fervid and burning pleasure in his task. It's just a devastating portrayal of an artist's tunnel vision, his obsession.
As the portrait neared completion, becoming this mighty marvel of resemblance, the wife grew daily more dispirited and weak. In the final moments, when but little remained to do save one brush upon the mouth and one tint upon the eye, her spirit flickered up as the flame within the socket of the lamp.
Like her life force was waning as the portrait gained life.
Exactly. The painter completed the work, stood entranced before it, then cried, "This is indeed life itself,"
Only to turn.
and find his beloved bride dead. This story just forces you to consider the ultimate terrifying price of creative obsession, where art doesn't just imitate life, but consumes it entirely, leaving this beautiful yet horrifying testament to its cost.
A chilling little masterpiece itself.
We've taken quite a journey today, haven't we? Through the astonishing world of Edgar Allan Poe. From the struggles of his own life to the astounding variety of his imagination.
Quite a range.
We've seen how he plays with our perception of truth in his meticulously constructed hoaxes, how he delves into the intricate logic of deduction to solve seemingly impossible crimes,
How he explores the whimsy and the dark side of human nature.
and how he plunges us into these unknown, unsettling voyages, both physical and psychological.
What's truly fascinating here is that whether it's the pseudo-scientific plausibility of a moon voyage, the intricate logic of a detective like Dupin, or the psychological depth of a haunting portrait, Poe's genius lies in his ability to craft narratives that are both meticulously detailed and wildly imaginative.
Yeah, that combination is key.
He continually challenges us to look beyond the obvious, doesn't he? To question our assumptions and appreciate the hidden connections and surprising realities that lie just beneath the surface, or perhaps, sometimes, right there in plain sight.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? In a world saturated with information, claims of truth. Maybe the real analytical skill, as Dupin kind of suggests, isn't just in seeing what has occurred, but in asking, what has occurred that has never occurred before?
That's a good point, thinking outside the established patterns.
And how often do we mistake cleverness for true insight? Or maybe overlook the simplest, most powerful truths because we're looking too deeply, or maybe just in the wrong place?
Something to ponder.
Definitely something to ponder until our next deep dive.